Hey, welcome back to Limpet's Cocktails. Tonight we're gonna make an Old Pal. The Old Pal was created in the 1920s at Harry's New York bar in Paris, and it was created by the famous bartender, Harry. Who could have guessed? It's a riff on a riff. So it's a riff on a Boulevardier, which is sweet vermouth, Campari, and bourbon, which is a riff on a Negroni, which is sweet vermouth, Campari, and gin. And what's great about this is that this uses rye whiskey. Of all the whiskeys, honestly, rye is my favorite. Tonight, I'm gonna use one of my absolute favorite ryes, Alberta Premium Cask Strength Rye. As you can see, I've used almost this full bottle. It's great in a Manhattan, in an old fashioned, really anything that rye is called for, where you want a big rye, this is it. So I'm gonna use it tonight for my Old Pal. For the vermouth tonight, I'm gonna use a blanco vermouth because I honestly feel like it tastes better. And I have this great Mulisano blanco vermouth that I got in Singapore a few weeks ago. I tried it there at La Maison du Whiskey's bar in Singapore, and the guy made me a martini with it, and I thought it was absolutely incredible. It's very full-bodied, very delicious. Honestly, exactly the type of vermouth I like in a martini. So I think it'll go well in this Old Pal. And then of course, we're gonna use Campari for our red bitter component, the classic. No need to get too complicated, even though I do love to switch out different ones. We're gonna keep it pretty simple with these three ingredients. It's an equal parts cocktail and it's stirred, so let's get to making it. And I forgot to bring a mixing glass here to Guam, so here's a nice heavy bottom rocks glass that I found, and we're gonna mix in that. All right, we're gonna start out with 1 ounce of our Campari. One ounce of our Blanco vermouth. Dry vermouth is called for as well. Like I said, I think this helps balance out the flavors a little bit better. For the rye whiskey, again, Alberta Premium, 1 ounce. This is cask strength, so it's gonna be a little bit stronger. Oh, perfect bottle finisher. And what I will say is a lot of people use a 2-1-1 ingredient ratio now for the Old Pal. 1 ounce of Campari, 1 ounce of the vermouth, and then 2 ounces of whiskey. But I really feel like the classic mix is a little better, especially when you're using something like a cask strength whiskey. All right, let's go ahead and add our ice. Really fill up that glass, grab our bar spoon, and stir it down. We want it to get cold, nice and chilled. We also want it to get diluted because we need some of that water in here to really make it the right type of cocktail. You're gonna stir for about 25-30 seconds. I'm using pretty cheap ice though, so it might dilute a little bit faster. Not using my normal homemade clear ice because, well, I ran out. It's really nice smelling in here with that rye. I love a good rye whiskey. Like I said, it's just so delicious. I know I've been doing a lot of rum stuff and tiki lately, but rye is kind of my original favorite spirit. That should be enough. All right, we're gonna strain that into our chilled cocktail glass. Ooh, I went a little high there. And then our garnish is gonna be an orange peel. Gonna zest that over the top. Get those nice oils. And then for the garnish, I'm just gonna lay it on top here. That way, when you take your sip, you get that nice, bright orange oil right off the top immediately. All right, let's go ahead and try our Old Pal. Immediately on the nose, you get all those nice, fresh orange oils. Then you also smell that bitterness from the Campari and a little bit of that rye spice. But when you taste it, the rye doesn't dominate as much as you think it would. For being a cask strength rye, you'd think it'd be really just overpowering everything else in this cocktail. Especially since I'm using a Blanco vermouth and not a very sweet, red vermouth. But really this is perfectly balanced in my opinion because you have that red bitter, providing the herbal notes, the bitterness obviously, and then some sweetness. That Blanco vermouth really does provide a good amount of body and balance between the Campari and that rye. And then again, the rye providing that nice, spicy whiskey notes. And really, it's delicious. It really encapsulates perfectly what an Old Pal should be to me. I'm really glad that I went with the equal parts ratio because I think the 2-1-1 ratio with 2 ounces of rye would have completely overpowered the other ingredients. And right now, it's really getting that good, perfect balance between all three. And I know I went on a limb to use the Blanco vermouth, but I'm really curious what you guys think. Do you think that the Blanco vermouth kind of works out better than dry and helps to balance the cocktail, or did I go way off the rails by using, Blanco instead of dry? Let me know, leave a message in the comments. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe, and cheers.